So we are on the Widgeram Trail here. It comes off the Sapphire Coast Highway just up there, about 200 metres. Quite a dangerous place to get onto it because it's right on the top of the climb out of Sandy Beach Creek on the road. Quite dangerous. But it goes this way and it goes all along this ridge more or less to the east and winds up at Widgeram, but it's very difficult when you get that far down because it's all in private property and it's very difficult to find your way out. That side is Sandy Beach Creek and Kilbardy and that whole area there on the plains around Sandy Beach Creek. And this side is Margaret Creek, which sits to the north of us, and we're actually going to walk down there. So we're going to walk away westwards down here and then we're going to walk down into Margaret Creek. And yeah, it's not a very long walk, but it is pretty steep in places. So yeah, let's get on, try and do a little bit of drone footage when we get further on. Difficult to get up through the trees here, but yeah, so this is really the Margaret Creek Trail, but it starts off on the Widgeram Trail and we're going to finish up back on the Sapphire Coast Highway, but down near Wallagoot where I live. I noticed that I'm wearing snake gaiters today. I've walked this track a few times now and seen quite a few red-bellied black snakes along here. It's just the time of year for them. Still pretty warm in the summer. They're often just lying in patches of sunlight. I do believe there's never actually been a case of a human being being killed by a bite from a red belly in Australia, so I'm told. Alright, so that's the way off to the east to Widgeram, and then eventually you come to Bournda Lagoon and the ocean near Bournda Island, and then this way goes north. This drops into Margaret Creek and out again, and then eventually joins the Bournda Trig Trail. I'm not going to go up to Bournda Trig today, but we're going to turn left and then make our way back to the Sapphire Coast Highway. Absolute wonderful day. Look at these magnificent trees here. It's yeah, beautiful. We're actually looking down to the sea towards Bournda Island and Bournda Lagoon, past that Kilbardy Flats area. There's a lot of forest here. It's going to come down now, I hope. We're going to start the walk down into Margaret Creek now. It gets pretty steep here, and obviously it's just as steep coming up the other way. So Margaret Creek is a kind of east flowing creek like Sandy Beach Creek and like Monks Creek. It sits between Sandy Beach Creek and Monks Creek. It's to the north of Sandy Beach Creek. These creeks all drain down to the sea. They all have these pretty steep, steeply incised valleys, and yeah, it can be a little bit dodgy walking down these things. Again, you can see here in the forest lots of evidence for a burn off. In fact, they did a burn off here last year, I seem to recall, along the edge of the road, by the road. The highway's just over here, just to the left of us, maybe half a kilometre or a kilometre. Oh, gets the old knees, that one. But we're right now in the creek. It's just here. It drops off a bit of a cliff here actually. Bit of a gorge into the creek. Very, very thick vegetation. But very nice trees all the same. Okay, down we go. Looking down Margaret Creek towards the sea there. Can't really see the sea, or you just make it out in the distance. Very steeply incised here. So we're looking kind of eastwards there. And now you're swinging around more to a view into the actual creek. And Bourne trig points on that hill there. We're going to walk up almost to that point. We're really traversing round now towards the north, and in a minute we'll be basically looking towards the Suffolk Coast Highway, which is probably a kilometre away or maybe a little bit further. But there's like a little hidden spot here at the gorge. Beautiful. Lots and lots of really, really nice trees here. And now we're basically looking straight into the gorge itself. Yeah, and you can see how steep it actually gets down there. Basically cliffs. Now we're looking towards the highway, and now we're swinging around towards Marimbula, and then in the far distance around Imlay and Eden. And now walking on down into the creek. There's a bit of water in here. Haven't had huge amounts of rain recently, but every now and then, I think this is so deep, this little gorge here keeps quite a bit of water in. And this is it. This is the creek itself. Beautiful, quite a lot of outcrop in there. And you can see all the cliffs here forming the edge of the gorge that we just flew over. And that's onwards and upwards towards the Margaret Creek Trail, which is up the top of this hill. Bit of a pull up the hill. But how green it is down in the bottom here. Fantastic. Yeah, it's nice at this time of night with this low light, low sunlight. It's currently about 5:10. We're running a bit late actually, but we should be alright. Well, we're about a third of the way up, I'd say, by now. This is the first time I've done it this way around. Done it from the Margaret Creek end before. Has a very, very steep finish. Here we are now at the junction between this Margaret Creek trail, which stretches all that way and joins up with the Witheram Fire Trail, and with the Margaret Creek Fire Trail, which is right here in front of us. The Margaret Creek point itself is about 200 metres up there. To my right, you can just about make out Walgett Lake in the trees. I think I might try and do some droning here if I can find a spot. And then that way is the South High Coast Highway. And home. Hopefully Marianne will be there to pick me up. And behind us there is the Margaret Creek Trail, which is very steep coming this way. Now we're looking at straight across towards Walgett Lake. It's very windy up there. Yeah, there's Walgett, that's where I live. That green patch right there. Mountains are in a lot of cloud at the moment. So that's really looking due north there. Swinging around towards the west now. You see the bigger valley, Buckajoe in the far distance. Swinging around now, coming more towards the southwest and the south. Here we can see Margaret Creek, where we just walked through, heading towards the highway. And now we're looking quite a long way now down towards Merimbula and Bourne Islands down there, and Sandy Beach Creek in the far distance. Coming back round now towards Bourne Beach and Walgett. Now at Bondi Lake, which is immediately south of Lake Walgett, and Bourne Beach runs along the edge of Bondi Lake and then along the edge of Walgett and goes up to Turringle Head, which is where you can see that sand over in the distance there. This is the exit onto the highway. There you go. Margaret Creek Fire Trail. You can actually go right through past the trig point, and then if you want to keep on the main fire trail, you eventually come out on the Bourne Road in the park, or you can, after the trig point, take a right and go down to the what they call the Field Studies Centre, which is a bunch of A-frames. But if you keep going further there, you actually come out on the beach at Bourne Lagoon. Had a nice walk. I think I can see my lift. Oh look, another nice sign. My goodness, we had no signs for years. Till last week, now we've got a whole bunch of them. As you can see, it gets busy here, and I think that might be my lift sitting there. Never know your luck.